Benny Boy came out of the gate swinging and is upset at other conservatives. Why? Because they're not upset enough at woke pride corporations.
Well, corporate America continues to push forward this nonsense, despite the fact that Target is taking it directly on the chin. And part of that is, again, because conservatives refuse, many of them, out of some bizarre sense of civility, to call this stuff out. So I'm not sure how you don't call this stuff out, frankly. I mean, Disneyland. Okay, there's a clip that is now emerging from Disneyland. It's sort of painful to talk about the fall of Disneyland. So I grew up with my family going to Disneyland. Like as a kid, we went to Disneyland a lot. Right? We lived in Southern California, and it was sort of like the place to go. Like the best day of the year was your parents would take you out of school for no reason and take you to Disneyland. It was amazing. And then when we had kids of our own, we actually had annual passes at Disneyland when we lived in Los Angeles. And so at least twice a month, we'd end up taking a Sunday and going with our very little kids to Disneyland. And then when we moved to Florida, we went to Disney World. And now, over the course of the last 3 years, Disney World, Disneyland, they've decided that it's very important to woke themselves at the behest of
like absolutely nothing has changed. It was gay as fuck back then, and it's still gay as fuck now. It's so stupid. Of course, this Disney adult, like Ben Shapiro, of course Ben Shapiro is a fucking Disney adult. He was like a violinist when he was growing up. Come on, man. He wanted to be in Hollywood. He grew up in California, Los Angeles, folks. The notion that like Disneyland has somehow changed their fucking values and is like now gay is so dumb. It was gay as fuck when you went there, and it's still the same level of gay. Like, oh man, the fall of Disney is one to behold. It makes me so sad to even think about. I need someone to hold me. Like, you're an adult talking about Disney, man. They didn't change anything.
People like Bob Iger, who is just one of the world's most ridiculously perverse political figures. So this clip has now emerged from Disneyland. There's something at Disneyland called Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is made for small girls. That's what it's for. Okay, so for small girls to go get made up to look like princesses. We did this for she's now 9-year-old daughter. We did this for my daughter when she was maybe 4 years old. She loved it. It was amazing. When we bought her a dress and they do her hair up like a princess. And
Bro, you're a whole ass adult talking about Bibbidi Bobbidi, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Oh my God, bro. Being mad about the Bibbidi Bobbidi shit is so... You are the least serious motherfucker on the planet, dude. It is crazy to me that anyone takes conservatives seriously when they're literally angry about the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is.
Beautiful. Okay, well now, because Disneyland, which used to be a place that actually had a brand, so that brand involved basically enmeshing you in a fantasy world in which all the people were, if you walk down Main Street in Disneyland, the idea is, well, you were in Main Street, 1920s America. Right? Same music, cobblestones, like that. That's what it looked like. And when you went into Fantasyland, the idea was it was all princes and princesses. And yes, with gender-specific garb, because anything less would be ridiculous. Well, now they've decided that the personal sexual preferences of their employees take precedence over the brand itself, which, by the way, is brand death. It's ridiculous.
Ironic that a Jewish man's like, 1920s America was so fire. Not for you. What are we talking about?
Name another business. I mean, I guess now it's a lot of businesses, but name another business 20 years ago where people were like, your personal value of individuality is now going to overcome the corporate brand. In fact, this was a joke in Office Space, right? The joke in Office Space was that your personalization extended to like the flair that you could work, meaning like small pins that you could wear on your uniform if you were at a restaurant. That was like the extent of the individuality. Now, your individuality has extended to the point where at Disneyland, you can be a man with a mustache wearing a dress in front of small children. So this is tape from Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique 2023. Again, these are...
It pains me to show this to you. I'm afraid the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique has gone woke, okay? I'm sorry. It is with great sadness that I deliver to you the woke downfall of the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
This is for small girls. That's what it's for. Nick is a fairy godmother. Nick is a total dude, like wearing a mustache. Like wearing a mustache and guiding small children in there. I'm a fairy god because that's what you want to explain to your 4-year-old.
I like that in Ben's world, you're not explaining the 4-year-olds the concept of fairies, but like when one of the fairies is like kind of mask presenting, that's the craziness there. It's like, dog, that's a fairy. Did you explain that to your 4-year-old? Like, that's where we stop? That's like, how fucking stupid are you, dude? That's Disneyland, man. That's Disney World. Like, every part of it is just like fake. It's made up. What are you upset about?
Child is why this individual is wearing a dress and talking to small children about why he's a fairy godmother. That's what you pay hundreds of dollars to go to Disneyland for, presumably. And then Disney wonders why they are losing market share. Maybe it's that. Well, conservatives should call this stuff out because it's bad. But some
yeah, Ben Shapiro be like, the conservative movement's silence on the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique saga is deafening. It's really fucked up. At the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, they got fairies that are like, gender fluid or like non-binary. They're fairies! It's fake!
Conservatives seem more concerned with, I will say, maintaining a perception of civility than they are in fighting the fight. So I don't mean to single anybody else out in particular here, but there are a couple of examples of this over the weekend. So Philip Klein, who's an editor over at National Review, I enjoy a lot of Philip's work. I think that a lot of the stuff he says is really intelligent. This is not one of them. So the account End Wokeness on Twitter tweeted out pictures from Kohl's. Kohl's, in honor of the holy month of Pride, has put out LGBTQ Pride gear for small babies, like onesies for small babies with the Pride Progress flag on them. And Philip tweeted out, I don't have a problem with this. If somebody wants to dress their baby in a Pride onesie, why should it matter? We're not talking about transitioning minors here. It's just a shirt.
Oh my God. A conservative had a normal take? Wow. He's right. Wow. A sane take? Ben's like, I'm offended. You need to be insane. Did you forget what business you're in?
Well, it isn't. It is an attempt to indoctrinate in a philosophy of sexual fluidity a small child. That's what it is. It's amazing to me that, like, educating small children, we all take a fair bit of time and thought to figure out how we wish to educate our children.
Does he think that, bro, no fucking child is going to remember what kind of fucking binky they had or what kind of fucking onesie they had. And also, there's gay parents. Like, why can't they fucking put some pride shit on their kid if they want to? I don't get it. Like, why are you so bent out of shape over the shit?
To pretend that it is a matter of absolute moral apathy whether a small child, like a baby, is wearing a trans flag, and that has nothing to do with the future trajectory of the child. It will be just a giant shock if that kid experiences sexual confusion as the kid gets older. It'll come out of nowhere. No, I'm not. It's not a matter of moral apathy, morality that is taught to the children of this country. That is not a matter of moral apathy to me. I think it is an active evil to teach small children that boys can be girls and girls can be boys. That is not an
active evil to say gay and trans people exist. Yeah.
Matter of apathy. And the gear that you wear is, of course, associated with that. Everybody recognizes this. Whatever gear you wear. If your child is wearing a piece of religious iconography, you can presume that the parents are going to teach a religious philosophy to that child. If a child showed up at school wearing a Taliban flag, you can assume something about the parents and what that kid is going to be indoctrinated into. And if the kid shows...
Yeah, they're going to have a based-ass kid, dude. That's metal as fuck. Yeah, that happens all the time, by the way. Parents are always dressing up their children with the Taliban flag. Like, what are you saying, dude?
Goes up at school wearing a trans flag, or it's a baby wearing a trans flag, you can figure out exactly what the parents are going to indoctrinate into that child. Corporate America taking advantage of that with the certain knowledge that Republicans are going to be apathetic. That's how they've been able to win for so many years. Well, now Republicans are pushing back, and it's fascinating to see who is deeply uncomfortable with all of this.
Win what?
So, David French, who, again, I'm
What are they winning? What are they winning? Like, what is corporate America winning? What's the victory? They're just like making sales. What are they winning? What's the victory here? Like, what's happening? They're winning the hearts and minds of babies, brother. You don't understand. They're winning. They're winning something. I don't know what it is, but they're winning. People used to love dunking on fucking hysterical college freshmen that would get mad at shit like this from the left. Ben Shapiro himself has probably cut infinite amounts of fucking videos about, like, look at how fucking hysterical these people are. Look at how fucking silly these woke SJWs are. Look at the cancel culture. Bro, this is significantly worse than that, okay? It is significantly funnier than that because you're a whole ass adult. Like, you're wearing a suit while you're complaining about the Bibbidi Bobbidi shop or whatever the fuck it's called at Disney, dog. That's insane to me. You're like a very unserious, sick pervert. It's ridiculous. You cannot exist in society, man. You just can't.
Friends with David, I don't understand why his beat now. You know, he used to be at National Review. He used to be a lot more conservative, I think, in the way that he viewed the world. His beat over at the New York Times is to say all the things to liberals about how much they hate conservatives, but as an apostate conservative, as the person who's too moral for the conservative movement. That's the only way I can interpret a piece titled, Will DeSantis Destroy Conservatism as We Know It? Now, this is absurdity. It's just absurdity. And it's of a piece with pretty much everything that David is now writing for the New York Times these days. The last few pieces are things like, the right is all wrong about masculinity. Shrieking on Twitter is not a masculine virtue. Or,
oh, he's right. He's literally correct. He's so mad because this dude read him to fucking filth, okay? I say this all the time. You think you're some fucking big masculine alpha dog? You're posting on Twitter. It's the gayest soy thing you can do. Shut the fuck up. Okay? You're just as gay as the rest of us, motherfucker. You're not doing some masculine alpha dog shit because you're fucking shrieking about a fucking baby's binky. That's crazy, man. Yo, you know what's alpha dog shit, dude? Back in the day, men used to fucking die in wars. Nowadays, the conservative movement, they're just literally like crying about babies' t-shirts and binkies and shit, dude, on Twitter. Wow, so masculine, dude. So mask.
A guilty ex-president, E. Jean Carroll, wins her suit against Donald Trump for sexual abuse and defamation, or Tucker Carlson's dark and malign influence over the Christian right, or Disney versus DeSantis. How strong is the company's lawsuit? So, in other words, David's beat at the New York Times is to tell liberals everything they like to hear, but guised in the language of conservatism and from the most pure possible perspective of what.
No, what that dude is doing is like actually fucking sane. He's looking at the modern conservative movement and saying, hey man, maybe focus your culture war shit on like something else because this stuff makes us look fucking weird and toxic to the average fucking voter. That's what he's saying.
What conservatism could possibly be. And so the idea now is that suggested that Trump was a particular danger to conservatism. So dangerous. Not only did he not back him in 2016, he also wouldn't back him in 2020. Okay, so again, the conservative movement was being damaged by Trump. Now he's moved that to include Ron DeSantis, the only rival to Trump, who's within spitting distance of him in a primary. And the reason that he's upset with Ron DeSantis, presumably.
It's so funny because Ben Shapiro said the exact same thing. And it's kind of the reason why he's like trying to back Ron DeSantis as best as he can right now. You're mad? You're mad that some dude wrote the exact same thing you've said so many fucking times about how Donald Trump is destroying the conservative movement?
Is because Ron DeSantis is taking up arms against corporations that are getting special benefits from the state of Florida. He says DeSantis, his primary victory would signal the transformation of conservatism since 2016 wasn't a mere interruption of Republican ideology, one in which Republicans would return to fusionism once Trump leaves the scene, but rather the harbinger of more permanent change. DeSantis is ambitious, but his political commitments have an underlying consistency that extends beyond that ambition. He fights the left. When you understand that distinction between the two men, between Trump and DeSantis, you understand the course of the race so far and its likely shape going forward. Who DeSantis attacks is ultimately less important than how he does it. DeSantis punishes Disney for merely speaking in opposition to a Florida law that restricted instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in Florida public school classrooms. DeSantis attempts to regulate social media moderation. He attempts to restrict speech about race and racial equality in public universities and private corporations. He's even banned private employers from imposing a COVID vax mandate. Now, you can disagree with DeSantis on all of these things and still recognize that the forces DeSantis is fighting are quite nefarious, and that in order to truly understand what DeSantis is doing on the corporate front, you have to understand the dirty combination of Democratic Party politics and corporate America cramming down politics on Americans via the market mechanism, which is in fact what is happening. And when DeSantis goes after Disney and removes their special tax benefits, that in fact is not a betrayal of conservatism. The special tax benefits shouldn't be given to corporations anyway. It is
I hate that the only time there's any kind of like